All right, let's break down the anatomy of a conflict that is right now shaking the entire globe. For years, this was just a simmering tension. But now, that standoff with Iran has just exploded into open warfare. And believe me, the consequences are already being felt everywhere.
So picture this. The year is 2026, and for the last 10 days or so, scenes just like this one have become the reality in the Middle East. What started as a regional war is escalating fast. It's pulling in global powers, and it's threatening to spiral completely out of control.
And you see, this is the thing. This isn't just about missile strikes or who's targeting which military base. No, this goes way bigger. The entire global economy has effectively been taken hostage by this one single narrow strip of water. We're talking about a choke point so critical, so vital, that shutting it down is sending massive shockwaves through literally every market on the planet. And look, this isn't some far-off prediction. This isn't speculation. Headlines just like this one are the new reality, right now. The economic fallout, it's immediate, you can feel it, and honestly, it's probably only just getting started.
Okay, so the big question is, how on earth did we get here? Well, it all started with a single spark. A spark that has now set the entire region ablaze.
It really kicked off on February 28th. That's when we saw major US and Israeli strikes. Iran's retaliation, it was swift and it was fierce. A huge barrage of missiles and drones. And now, now the war is spilling over. We're seeing Iranian-aligned groups launching their own attacks, making the whole battlefield that much bigger.
And all of that brings us to what is, without a doubt, the most critical strategic development of this entire war. The world's most important choke point is, for all intents and purposes, shut for business. What you're looking at here is a snapshot from maritime intelligence, and what it shows is just a near total collapse of tanker traffic in the Strait of Hormuz. I mean, commercial shipping has basically ground to a complete halt.
So what does that actually mean in real terms? Well, it means 20%, 1/5 of the entire global oil supply is now trapped, just stuck. 20% just wiped off the market almost overnight. It's staggering.
And, well, the consequence was pretty predictable, but that doesn't make it any less painful. Oil prices have surged past $100 a barrel. And you know what the scary part is? Analysts are warning that might just be the new floor. The data coming from the ground, or from the water, I should say, is pretty stark. Take March 8th, for example. Only 2 ships made it out. And inbound, 0. Nothing got in. It's gotten so bad that some ships are even going dark, turning off their tracking signals in these desperate attempts to just slip through unnoticed. Okay, so with the global economy teetering on the brink, you can bet the world's navies are not just sitting around. Nope, an international armada is starting to gather.
Leading the charge for the European response is France, and they are sending in the big guns, their nuclear-powered aircraft carrier, the Charles de Gaulle. Now, this is no token gesture. This ship is the backbone of a major naval task force, and its mission is simple: get the global economy moving again.
And it's definitely not coming alone. The carrier is sailing with a whole entourage. We're talking around 8 modern frigates, a couple of helicopter carriers, and all the support ships to go with them. I mean, this is one of France's largest naval deployments in decades, all focused on one, quote-unquote, defensive mission, reopening that strait. But this brings up a really fascinating tactical problem. Because reopening the Strait of Hormuz, it's not just about showing up with the biggest, baddest navy you've got. It's actually about having the right tools for a very, very specific job. So, here's the fundamental point, and it's super important. It's not about having the most ships. It's about having the right ships. But what does that really mean? What does the right ship look like in such a dangerous and confined waterway? Okay, now this is really interesting. Let's compare. On one side, you've got the U.S. Navy's workhorse, the Arleigh Burke destroyer. It's a 9,000-ton beast, right? Built for high-end fleet defense, like protecting an aircraft carrier. It's almost overkill for simple escort duty. But then on the other side, you've got these modern European frigates. They're smaller, they're cheaper, and they're built for exactly this kind of work: convoy escort. They're kind of the tactical sweet spot. And this just illustrates the point perfectly. Look at the difference here. A coalition force needs the whole spectrum, from a massive 42,000-ton carrier providing air cover from miles away, all the way down to a nimble little 330-ton patrol craft that can get right in there and deal with those smaller, faster threats up close.
And that's because Iran's entire naval strategy is what we call asymmetric. What does that mean? Well, they know they can't sink a U.S. destroyer in a fair head-to-head fight, so they don't even try. Instead, their plan is to overwhelm it, to throw everything they've got at it. Swarms of fast boats, drones, naval mines, coastal missiles. And the only way to counter that is with ships that are nimble, numerous, and specialized for that kind of chaos.
So here's how it all comes together. Let's look at the anatomy of a convoy. First up, you have the minesweepers. Their job is to go out ahead and clear the path. Then you get the frigates and patrol craft forming this tight protective screen right around the valuable tankers. A little further out, you have the big destroyers acting as a long-range missile shield. And watching over all of it, carrier aircraft, providing those crucial eyes in the sky. It's this complex, layered defense, and every single layer is essential. So, the chessboard is set, and all the pieces are in motion. The big question is, what happens next? Well, the entire conflict really hinges on 3 crises that are all interconnected and all happening at the exact same time. First, you have the direct air and missile war between the main players. Second, you've got the regional spillover, with proxy forces widening the battlefield every day. And holding it all hostage is the economic dagger, that choke point crisis in the Strait. And you can see how each one feeds the others, right? An escalation in the air war could slam the Strait shut for even longer, and that would just cripple the global economy even more. And at the end of the day, it all boils down to one monumental question for world leaders. Do you try to reopen the Strait of Hormuz by force and risk a massive, unpredictable escalation at sea? Or do you wait, hold back, and hope for a diplomatic solution while the global economy just bleeds out, day by day? There are absolutely no easy answers here.